With cameras and mics, we are here at the Firehouse in downtown North Manchester, Indiana, with a special guest, Edose Ibadin. I'm your co-host, Reverb, and here's your host, Christopher Blue.
Hello, and welcome to Good Night with Christopher Blue. I'm Christopher Blue, and we have a wonderful show for you tonight. Tonight's guest is a professional track star. But before we get to that, why haven't you subscribed yet? I've asked. We are on the road to 1,000 subscribers. Have we hit that number yet?
Please subscribe.
Here's how many subscribers we have. Please just click it.
In the arms of...
I don't want to get demonetized. When we come back, Edose Ibadin.
Daddy, what are you doing?
Oh, just working on my boring case for work, drinking out of my boring coffee mug.
Dad, don't you think your life would be a lot better if you were drinking out a mug like this?
Billy, this is the best mug in the world. You are now my favorite child. I was literally considering sending you off to boarding school. Oh, but now I'm actually going to put you in my will. Billy, thank you.
Yay!
Become your parents' favorite child by getting them Good Night with Christopher Blue merch. Link in the description. Welcome back. Tonight's guest runs for a living. So take it away out
Barry
of studio.
Allen.
What's that?
Oh, I thought you were going to say Barry Allen.
No, but we do talk about The Flash.
Okay.
So take it away out of studio, Chris. Thanks, Chris. I'm here with Edose Ibadin. Hello.
How's it going? How are you?
Pretty good. Thanks for coming on the show. So,
Thank you.
Absolutely. So you are a professional track star. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so pretty much how professional track and field works. It's very confusing to people who aren't in the sport. And so the way it works is there's 3 ways a track athlete can get paid. One is through prize money through random competition.
Mm-hmm.
Other way is for the country that they represent in international competition to pay them. And then the third way, which is probably the most consistent way or the easiest way, is through sponsorship, through shoe companies like Nike, Under Armour, Adidas, New Balance, things like that.
Wow. And so do you find yourself having some great success with that?
Yeah, so I've been able to generate revenue from all 3 sources.
Okay.
I've won prize money throughout my career in different competitions. I compete for Nigeria internationally, and so they've paid me here and there as well. But my main source of income comes from my sponsor, Under Armour, and I've been sponsored by them since 2019. So I didn't officially call myself a professional until I was sponsored by them, because that's where consistent payments finally started coming in.
Yeah, and feel free to shout them out. Maybe they'll see this and feel like they want to sponsor me. Hey, how you doing, Under Armour? How you doing? Wonderful. So, when did you find that you had a love for running and wanting to turn this into a career?
Yeah, so just a backstory. I started running when I was about 16. 10th grade. I started running in 10th grade, and it was just something to do in terms of getting like college applications to look better. Because, a lot of times colleges would want kids who are well-rounded instead of just kids who just go to school and go home. So I was like, okay, let me pick a sport to do. I didn't join that many clubs in high school, and so I just figured doing a sport would probably be the easiest thing and also the most fun thing for me to do. And so I always kind of enjoyed running a little bit, and I knew I was faster than most kids my age growing up. And so I figured, hey, let's give running a shot. And I also knew people who ran as well, so I was just like, let's give it a shot. Let's see how far I can go. And I came out for the team and been running track ever since. I think every coach I've ever had always said there was always some talent there that could come out. And so in high school, I was able to win a state title individually for myself, but also for my school.
Wow.
So that was amazing to do. And I was able to also get a scholarship to go to college through track. And I went to Hampton University in Hampton, Virginia. And then I went on to join a new club team after graduating called District Track Club. And then through that, District Track Club was then able to get a sponsorship through Under Armour. and that's how I was able to get sponsored by Under Armour. And then I know you asked the question of like how did I discover the love, and truthfully, when I first started running, I didn't have any intentions of running in college. So the fact that I'm professional now is kind of crazy. So it just shows how the love for something that you do can grow over time.
Mm-hmm.
And so I probably didn't think I wanted to go pro maybe till about my junior year of college because I didn't know professional track was a thing. When I was in high school, I knew people like competed for Team USA and stuff like that at the Olympics, but I didn't know there was a whole like professional circuit and that people can get sponsorships and all that stuff. I didn't know anything about any of that. It wasn't until I went to college and I saw people for myself who were sponsored by, you know, the Nikes, the Adidas, the New Balances, the Reeboks, and stuff like that that showed, okay, it is possible to do this professionally. And then in college is when I had a lot of fun in the sport. I had fun in high school as well, but I didn't think I had what it took to compete at the next level up until maybe my senior year. So when I did go to college, it was then I kind of knew, okay, maybe this professional route is something that I could look into or consider, you know, depending on how well I do in college, I could then, you know, toil around the professional scene.
Wow. Now, so did you try any other sports in high school, or was it just track and you found it and that's what you decided to stick with?
So when I was younger, I played soccer. I played soccer in elementary and middle school, but then I didn't do it in high school. I wanted to do it in high school, but I just didn't. And so my original plan was to do soccer. And then I was like, okay, I can do track to get faster for soccer. But I don't know, I just liked running a lot more and it just stuck with it. So I just stuck with it. So I ended up doing cross country instead of soccer in the fall.
Hey, I mean that you ended up finding a path that was better suited for you, so that's awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
Do you ever sometimes wonder what would have happened if you stuck with soccer, or is that just completely behind you and you don't even think about it?
It's funny. So sometimes I do wonder a little bit, not often, but sometimes it's like, dang, like if I was able to go pro in this sport, who knows? Maybe I could have gone pro in soccer and I could have been maybe a dual sport athlete in college or something like that. Who knows? But I don't regret, you know, track has made me a better human being overall, and I don't regret, you know, leaving soccer initially. I didn't necessarily leave soccer for track, but just leaving soccer in general. So no regrets there. I definitely sometimes, like I said, do wonder a little bit, like, you know, maybe I could have gone pro or maybe not. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
I'll never know.
Now, let's say something tragic would happen, and for some reason your career ended now. What is the one achievement that you can take on to your future kids or grandchildren and be like, hey, this is what I did. What's the thing that you're most proud of as of now?
Yeah, for sure. I think one of the things I'm most proud of is definitely representing. So my parents are from Nigeria, and so because of that, I was able to apply for Nigerian citizenship and compete for Nigeria internationally. And I think one of my proudest achievements so far was being able to compete at the World Championships for Nigeria twice now. Wow. And I'm hoping to do it a third time this upcoming summer as well. And I think that's probably my most proud achievement overall because I feel it's amazing to be able to represent a country and just be on a national team and just represent a country's uniform, wear their uniform and stuff like that, and don the colors. And it kind of gives a level of elite status that isn't normally seen. And so for me to be able to get all the way there has been amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing. It sounds like culture is very important to you.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, unfortunately, hearing about you is the first time I've ever heard about track at a professional level like this. So why do you think that track isn't as popularized as, say, football or soccer?
Yeah, so it's so many. There's a lot of things that is wrong with the way track and field is publicized and portrayed. I think it's hard. I don't even know where to start, but I just think because it's a lot of people participate in it in high school, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then past high school, track kind of just falls off. And so I think track has a lot of potential to be popular, but the way some of the meets are televised, it can often be a little bit boring for the average viewer. Mm. And even for some runners, it's like this is kind of boring. I'd rather watch basketball. And then in track, there's not as much storytelling as there is in basketball and football and baseball and things of that nature. And the other problem too is that people only care when it's the Olympics. And to have that kind of relevancy, it's hard to have a big relevancy every 4 years.
Right.
Whereas basketball and football and other mainstream sports, their seasons are every year. Like a lot of people think, there's some people who think that track athletes only compete at the Olympics and that's it. And so there has to be, one, a lot more storytelling behind the athletes. Two, there has to be more, and then the lack of financial support for some of the athletes. Like track is a very costly, it can be a very costly sport with very little return on the athlete end. Like everyone isn't blessed to be able to have a sponsorship and things like that, like I've been able to have. And a lot of people end up dropping off, the sport after college because there's just the lack of support. Like I said, I've been very lucky that I've had support throughout my professional career, from club teams to sponsorships and things like that. And I also think that sometimes the way some of the rules are in track, like for example, there's a lot of politics involved with the sport, and that doesn't need to be the case. And sometimes you'll get into a high level race just because of a specific agent that you have, but objectively you don't deserve to be in that race, but because that agent, he or she got you in. And so it's a lot of subjectivity going on as well. And track is a very objective sport, but there's a lot of subjectivity that goes into it as well.
Yeah, I can see that. And it's actually kind of fascinating that track isn't more popular because, you think about football and the fans that football have, that pretty much goes back to the way people were fans of gladiators, right? And with that involved into like today's modern superheroes. So we kind of look at football stars as superheroes. Well, one of the most popular superheroes out there is the Flash, who's known for running. So I feel like track should definitely be more popular with Flash fans for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And I think another hard part that I forgot to mention with track is that there's really it's an individual sport. And so when you have, a lot of people like to root for a team. And that's why it's popular during the Olympics, because you can root for Team USA, you can root for Team Nigeria, you can root for Team Canada. So when you have that team element to it, it definitely makes it more popular. But the problem is there's not that much team element in track and field in general, except for the Olympics or the World Championships. But even then, a lot of people don't even know about World Championships. That's every 2 years. So it's hard. It's hard out here.
Yeah. You have been very successful as a track star, and you're kind of looking towards your future a bit, with wanting to maybe get on a different path. Could you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so just a little bit of background. I studied electrical engineering in undergrad, and I went to grad school to study IT and software engineering. So I always thought that I would just do some type of engineering after I was done running. That was my plan. But it wasn't until, and I still might, who knows, but it wasn't until late 2019, early 2020. Well, actually, this journey started after I graduated from grad school in 2018. So I started picking up the habit of reading. So I read a lot of books. I'm an avid reader. Definitely read about 25 to 30 books a year. Might do more this year. I don't know. But I started reading a lot of like motivational books and just a lot of self-help books and stuff like that, because I really like the wisdom people share in those kinds of books. Because like, all right, I can apply this to my daily life and just make myself an overall better person. And so that's how that journey kind of started. And so I've just been on this big self-improvement journey. And I've always kind of had a passion for motivating others and encouraging others and things like that. And so it wasn't until I talked to another Olympian who, I was asking him, how do I break through to the next level? And then he was like, it's mental. And so I'm like, okay. And so then I read a book called The Champion's Mind, which had a lot to do with like mental performance for athletes. And when I read it, it kind of blew my mind a little bit, some of the practices and techniques that they did in there. And I was just like, all right, this is something that I want to apply in my own athletic career. And I did see some success out of it. And then Under Armour, they put on a run summit for us. They flew us out to Portland. And there was just a whole bunch of seminars that people were teaching us. That invited a bunch of guest speakers to come and speak to us. And so they had like nutritionists, sleep experts, and then one of them was a mental performance coach. And then I remember in her session, Her name was Courtney Thompson. So Courtney Thompson, shout out to you. Um, and she was an Olympian herself. She was an Olympian in volleyball. And the stuff she was telling us, it just resonated with me like the whole time. Like I was taking so much notes. I was just so inspired, and I felt like I could run through a brick wall after I talked to her, or after I finished talking to us. And so then it was just like, all right, my mission then was the way she made me feel in that room. If I can make as many people feel that way as possible, that's something I would want to do. And it wasn't until my coach like kind of shared the idea with me of a mental skills coach, and I was kind of just like, like people can do that. And so that's kind of a path that I want to venture into and just see what happens with it. You know, I started doing mental coaching on the side and apart from my running, and I've been able to have different kinds of clients and stuff like that. And they've learned a lot from me, and I've been learning from them as well. So it's been a fun journey, and I hope to have many more clients. I even created a whole online course or curriculum to give to people and stuff like that. So it's been a really fun ride, and that's something I think I want to pursue. So mental performance coaching.
Yeah. Well, that sounds awesome, and I wish you luck in all of that. And the plus side is not only is Under Armour #1 in athletic wear, but it's also the #1 wear in mental health coaches too. See what I did there, Under Armour? we can get together. No, but seriously, that's an awesome goal. I really hope you can pursue that and be successful in that.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Where can people go to follow your journey and to root you on?
Yeah, so I'm on pretty much all social media platforms. I'm on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. My Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok handles are Ibadin, so E and then Ibadin. And then my LinkedIn and Facebook are just my first and last name, Edose Ibadin.
Thank you so much, Edose, for coming on. We'll make sure all your links are in the description down below so people can just click on them. It has been such a pleasure to talk to you, and it's been great having you on the show.
Thank you for having me.
We take it back to me to close out the episode. Thanks, Chris. Well, that's our show. Thank you guys so much for liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing. Don't forget to ring that bell so you get notified whenever we upload new content.
You're all gonna subscribe out there.
Until next time, good night, my sweet baby angels. I'll see you in the future.